Alright guys, Professor T is back. Today we are going to cover demand. No, I haven't uploaded in a while due to some reasons, but alright, here we are again. So let's just dive right in. So first of all, here's the specification, and this thing would be this topic of demand will be divided over two videos. So today we are going to do the first 4 points. I'll make a separate video on price elasticity of demand, which is right here, because I think it needs to be understood in much more depth. So I think if I do it in this video, you might get intimidated by the amount of material in the video. So alright, first things first, let's understand what is meant by demand. So let me just present my presentation. So first of all, we need to understand is that demand is the quantity of goods and services that consumers are willing and able. So these two are the keywords, willing and able, to buy at a given price at a given time. Yeah, I know there are a few keywords that you need to understand, but let me explain you this information in simplest terms. So demand is the quantity of goods and services that consumers are willing and able. So what is meant by willing and able here? So let me give you an example. Let's say let's take an example of a luxurious product such as a private jet. Almost everyone in the world could be willing to buy a private jet, but not everyone is able to buy a private jet because they don't have enough money to do so. Not everyone does. So that is why you need to be willing to buy the product, and also you need to be able to buy the product. For only then, at a given price, of course, and only then the demand will exist. Now, even if you are able, that doesn't mean that you will be willing to buy the product. For example, again, I mean, you could take any example, like let's say a laptop. So you are able to buy a laptop, but probably you don't need a laptop, so you are not willing to buy a laptop, so there is no demand for it. And to buy at a given price, so even the price determines that thing. So for example, I might be willing to buy a laptop for, let's say, I don't know, 500 pounds or something, but I might not be willing to buy a laptop for 600 pounds. So that's what is meant by demand. So the quantity of goods and services that consumers are willing and able to buy at a given price. Willing and able are the keywords. You need to remember these to get the marks if this comes in the exam. At a given time. So this is also important. So I mean, we need to take the particular time in account, right? I might not be willing to buy something today, but I might be willing to buy it tomorrow, right? So that is why even this time is the keyword here. And so what is meant by individual demand? Is demand for a product by a consumer. And market demand is the demand for all the consumers in a market. Demand for a product by all the consumers / individuals in a market. So first, okay, so we have successfully got through the definition of demand. And you should be able to explain it. Try to explain it to your friend or someone. Because when you try to explain it to someone, it tests your understanding. So that's what I would recommend. Now, the second thing that we need to understand is the law of demand. So what that means is that when the price goes up, the quantity demanded goes down. I mean, that should make sense very intuitively. So now the thing is, let's say, anything, let's say again, let's just take the example of this laptop. So if the price of this laptop is less, let's say just like 100 pounds, I mean, the demand for it will increase. Yeah, everyone would like to buy this laptop, especially if it has like good features and some things, etc., etc. However, if the price goes up, naturally the consumers, I mean, like us, we don't want to spend much, right? We are always looking for the cheapest prices. So as the price goes up, the demand for it decreases. That's basically the law of demand. Now, how do we represent demand? So we need to be able to draw a demand curve using data and including individual and market demand. So to plot a demand curve, I have this whiteboard here. So always on the x-axis you write price, sorry, y-axis, and here you always write the quantity of the product. And as we know, as the price increases, the quantity decreases, or inversely, if the price decreases, the quantity increases. So the demand curve would always look something like this. I mean, not always, but in general terms. And now you could write D, which stands for demand, either here, or you could also write it here. But you need to make sure that you have price labeled, you have quantity labeled, and then you have demand labeled. So this is very important. As you can see this diagram. So, and now let's say we need to, we want to understand that what would be demand at a particular price. Let's say this was 30 pounds. What we would do is, we would draw a line like that and down to the x-axis and see what is the quantity here. Let's say it could be 10. So, oh sorry, I can't write it here. This is for here. So we understand that for price of 30 pounds, the quantity demanded for a particular product would be, let's say, 10 units. Now we understand how to represent a demand curve. Now what we need to understand, the final thing which I would be covering in this video, is what is meant by shifts and movements along the demand curve. So let's return back to the presentation for a moment. Now what happens is, the movement along the demand curve is caused by changes in price. Now let me show you. Now let's see, for example, an increased price, let's say 40, like this. So what this happened is a contraction in contraction. So basically what happens, since the demand here decreased, it's a contraction in demand curve. And now if we lower the price, let's say here, this is an extension in demand curve. And now, as you have noticed, this is caused by the price. Let me just get rid of that. I mean, it was correct, but I need to represent something else, that's why I'm clearing it. Now this is contraction, this is extension. You can see it's extending here and contracting here. So demand is getting lesser and lesser as price goes up. Now this is called a movement in demand curve. Now what is a shift? Shift is caused by any other factor except price. So for example, let me give, okay, the best example would be of an ice cream. So for a particular price of an ice cream, the demand in summers would be higher as compared to winters. So let's say this is summers. Summer, and this is for winter. Of course, people have more ice cream in the summers, right? So even though the price has remained the same, let's say price for this is, let's just say 50 for the sake of example. Now in winter, for the same price of 50 pounds, the quantity demanded is lesser as compared to the same price in summer. And this has caused a rightward movement. Well, if it comes from winter to summer, then there is a rightward movement. And if it goes from summer to winter, then there is a leftward movement. Leftward shift, not movement. I'm so sorry for that. Leftward and rightward shift in demand curve. And again, you need to mention D here. That just means that you are representing demand. That's all we are going to cover for this video. Let me just see if I've missed out on something. Well, this is just one thing. So if you wanted to plot a demand curve for this one, let's just do it quickly. Just yeah, this is a straight line almost. Now this. Now basically what you would do is, so price always goes on the y-axis. Quantity always on the x-axis. Sorry for my handwriting. No, price 10, 20, 30, 40. Let's say 10, 20, 30, 40. Same for quantity. 10, 20, 30, and 40. Now what we just do is, so when it's 10, the price is 10, the quantity is 40. When it's 20, the quantity is 30. When this is 30, the quantity is 20. And when it's 10, it's 40. So it would be a straight line. Well, I could not draw a straight line here because I don't have a ruler, and for obvious reasons. You see by the proportion here, so 10, 40, 20, 30, 30, 20, 40, 10, that it has to be a straight line. So shifts of the demand curve are caused by other factors than price. For example, okay, this is just here. I just explained that. So it could be caused by changes in income, tastes, and fashions. So income, let's say, I mean, of course, if incomes of consumers increase, the demand for any product at any point of time would at least increase by a bit, because I mean, consumers have more money. Tastes and fashions, well, I mean, that's self-explanatory. The price of other goods, okay, the price of other goods. So let's say if there are substitutes, let's say Coke and Pepsi. So let's say if price of Coke increases, then more people would be able to buy, would be willing to buy Pepsi. Did I say Pepsi or Coke? So if the price of Coke increases, more people will be willing to buy. I keep on forgetting what I just said. Pepsi. So if price of one substitute increases, the demand for the other substitute increases, because we just studied the law of demand. So if your price increases, the demand decreases. So as a result, the demand for the substitute would increase. What else is there? So PED, that's what we'll be doing in the next lesson. So I believe that's it for this lesson. Thank you very much for coming here. Just one more thing. I think there is an exam question which I would like you to see and pause the video and like study it on your own, because I'll be making separate videos for how to attempt the 6 markers. Let me just see, where is that exam question. Okay, yeah. So if you read this extract and attempt this question for 6 marks, here are the key points that you should be including in your answer. And well, you could always get it checked by your teacher. They would be happy to do so. And well, I mean, it would just be a good practice for what you have understood. So these are the key points that you should be including in your answer. And well, okay, that's basically it for this lesson. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.